What's going on, guys? It's Franklin, and today I bring you a new series that I want to do on my channel where I'm going to go back all the way to Season 0 of Apex Legends and find out just how good each legend truly was through all the seasons. Today, we're going to be doing Bloodhound. He's my personal favorite. That's why I want to start with him. If you want me to do a different character, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Let's get into the video. I'm out. In the inaugural season of Apex Legends, Bloodhound was the first character players were introduced to upon entering the training mode. So many like myself saw her and wanted to play her and see what she was all about. And many, including myself, were not disappointed. We're going to talk about the tactical first, aka Eye of the Allfather. This ability would scan 25 meters in front of you in a 90-degree cone. This scan would light up enemies, traps, and clues for 30 seconds. It took 0.4 seconds to activate, had a large cooldown of 35 seconds. Her passive ability could see many clues, the most important being someone's footprints and when and where someone was killed. The clues would last 60 seconds from when they were made by an enemy. Lastly is her ultimate, Beast of the Hunt. Bloodhound's ultimate took 3 minutes to charge from 0% and lasted 35 seconds. It granted the player a 25% speed boost and a trip back to 1910. Your screen would go gray with the exception of enemies, which are bright red. While in your ultimate, you could also use your tactical ability, at a price of the activation time being 1.8 seconds. But a positive was that enemies you scanned, should they be killed by your team, you were granted an assist point. Lastly, before Season 1 could launch, Bloodhound was given a small nerf. People that were scanned would now only be scanned for 2 seconds instead of 3. Bringing us to Season 1, no changes were made to Bloodhound's kit, but Octane had been added. He brought with him one of the best mobility kits known to the game. Due to this, Bloodhound had a 7.7% pick rate and a win rate of 14.4. The first season was more about playing who you liked, more than who was good or what was meta. That's why other legends like Wraith and Pathfinder had upwards of a 30% pick rate. Meanwhile, characters like Gibraltar and Mirage only had a 2% pick rate. What seemed to have kept Bloodhound back was a lack of mobility and a long cooldown for both of her abilities. This brings us to Season 2. Wattson was introduced, meaning the Apex games were going to get rather defensive. This time, Bloodhound did receive changes though. The clues from her passive would now stay for 90 seconds instead of the original 60. Bloodhound's tactical gained a boost to its cone of sight, going to 110 degrees from 90. With these changes, the pick rate went up to 15%. Not a big change in pick rate, but the changes did not fix the issues that she had. Wraith and Pathfinder still sat at the top, whereas Gibby and Mirage sat very low. Season 2 was also the season where a meta started forming, and Bloodhound was nowhere near being in that meta. Season 3 brought with it even more changes for Bloodhound. It also brought the first character that could somewhat do her job, Crypto. The only problem is that Bloodhound still did the job better. Her tactical ability gained the ability to tell you how many targets had been scanned. Both her ultimate and tactical received a 33% decrease to the time it took to activate them. You also gained an extra 5% speed boost, bringing the total to 30%. Now, I couldn't find any pubs pick rates for this, or pubs win rates, or anything on pubs. But this season brought out esports competitive, and in the ALGS online tournament, Bloodhound boasted an impressive 0% pick rate. The meta had been very defensive or very movement-based, with the top teams being Wraith, Wattson, Gibraltar, or Wraith, Wattson, Pathfinder. Bloodhound still struggled to find her place due to the long cooldowns and short-range abilities. Season 4 gave Bloodhound's ultimate a much-needed buff. Every time a player downed someone in her ultimate, the ultimate would last an additional 5 more seconds, meaning good players could potentially be using her ult for 45 or more seconds. The tactical was given a major revamp, with their scan going 3 times the distance, sitting at 75 meters. The activation was doubled to 0.8 from 0.4 seconds, but the time the enemies were scanned went back to the original 3 seconds, from 2. Even with the huge adjustments, Bloodhound couldn't find any play in esports, with again a 0% pick rate, whereas in public matches her pick rate dropped all the way down to 4%. Movement was such a huge part of the game, and other legends offered more team-based abilities like Lifeline's Res with her giant shield or Wraith's Portal. Bloodhound's scans just weren't going to cut it, and she needed something distinct that only she could do. Within Season 5, they amped up Bloodhound to an almost usable point. Bloodhound's enemies would now stay scanned for 4 seconds instead of 3. Her tactical cooldown dropped 10 seconds, bringing it to a nice 25 seconds. Her pick rate in normal matches rose to 5.5%, and she finally gained some notice in esports, with the summer circuits bringing her a 2.5% pick rate and a 3.3% pick rate respectively. This was also thanks to a nerf to Pathfinder and Watson, which sent the pros looking for what could be used in the next meta. Single-handed, most important season for Bloodhound, Season 6. She can now scan survey beacons and get the next ring's location, plus while in her ultimate, her tactical ability now had a cooldown of 6 seconds, dropping all the way from 25. And the activation took half as long, only needing 0.9 seconds. But after about a week, the tactical cooldown was pushed up to 8 seconds because it was just a little bit too strong. Bloodhound's pick rate rose to 8.5% in normal matches, and that's right about where the devs want all of their characters to be. In the PGL tournament, we saw her pick rate skyrocket to 28.6%. She was a serious threat now. Bloodhound had a reason to be picked, finally. Information was the name of the game. Being able to see where all the enemies were in a fight became a huge positive, and the best character for the job was Bloodhound. Season 7, no changes happened to Bloodhound, but we did again see her pick rate rise in normal matches to 9.3%. And in the Autumn Circuit playoffs, they shined again with a 45.9% pick rate. This was also thanks to more nerfs to Pathfinder, which really crippled him and brought Bloodhound into the light. This is the same story with Season 8. No changes, but a growth in pick rate. Normal matches grew to 10.63%, and in the Pro League, the Winter Circuit, they had an average of 58%. This was thanks to nerfs to Wraith's hitbox getting bigger and Horizon's gravity lift, which crippled Horizon and threw her out of the meta almost entirely. Season 9 brought a hard hit to Bloodhound. You could no longer get assists from scanning people, and even when they were scanned, it was for 3 seconds, no longer 4. And just to add insult to injury, her ultimate only lasted 30 seconds from 35. But luckily, you could still gain the 5 seconds by downing people. Her esports pick rate dropped to 47% in the ALGS Championship, and in normal matches, her pick rate stayed just about the same. As of right now in Season 10, no changes were made to Bloodhound. There hasn't been any esports, so I don't have any information on that, but her normal match pick rate sits right about 10%. And that's everything we know about Bloodhound. In the beginning, Bloodhound was nothing special and needed a lot of work to be good. Some of the redeeming qualities were her scans. Her scans could net you assists and ranked, and she is the only one that can get information in a split second's notice. But even that wasn't good enough. She needed speed and for other ledges to be brought down a notch, and when that happened, Bloodhound reigned supreme and became a very important character in the meta, which is where she sits to this day. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and comment who you want me to do next. And please subscribe. It helps the channel and it helps me grow. This is my dream, everybody. I'm Fraunklin. I'm out.